Earl Granville is a veteran of the conflict in Afghanistan, where he lost a leg, actually, as many of our soldiers did, legs, arms, and all that. When he returned to America from his service, he also returned to his hobby of competitive athletic events. And one event that he was in was a multi-day Spartan race in the mountains of Vermont that's focused on endurance, literal mountain climbing and running through hills and all of that. Now, to commemorate this very difficult athletic achievement, he took a photo, and here is the photo. And you're seeing there on his t-shirt, that's the name of the event that he was in. And that's a really striking photo. You know, he just did something that I literally couldn't do right now, and he did it with only one leg. And so I would look at that photo and I would think, wow, this is amazing, not just for what he had previously done in his service to our country, but what he continues to do now that he's brought back. It's an inspiring photo. That's me. Other people look at it and think, cha-ching, I can make some money. So let's bring up this next photo that you might have seen on Facebook or social media. Wait a second, his shirt's different in that one. It says, I don't kneel. Weird that he's supporting the people who don't want athletes to kneel during the Pledge of Allegiance. Weird. He found it weird too because he didn't ever actually pose in that photo. People just photoshopped it and began selling the shirt by using his image. Multiple Etsy shops as of right now are still selling the t-shirt with the false image of him. Political Insider, which is a Facebook page, also published that photo. By the way, Political Insider, to give you an idea of the reach of this thing, Political Insider, when they posted it, it got 157,000 shares. This image of this soldier, which is photoshopped without his consent, spread without his consent, and not just his implicit lack of consent, he has specifically tried to stop people from doing this. He said this, if somebody asked for my permission, I would have said no, but I didn't hear anything from any of them. I understand it's a hot item at the moment, but to see somebody profiting on this, to think, quote, here's an image of a guy missing his leg, maybe he looks military? To use that as an agenda to sell a product, that's where I needed to step in. And it's not just that they didn't ask him or they didn't care. He contacted one page in particular, Veterans Pride. He reached out to them, sent them a message, and they blocked him. These are the people. Think about, this isn't a random protest. This is a protest where they say they're attacking African Americans for not respecting the flag in our country and conceivably our soldiers. And they're blocking the soldiers they're profiting off of to sell their stupid freaking t-shirts.
All right, so first of all, I get why they're using that picture. And I don't know anything about Earl Granville's politics, and he never said anything about his politics. I don't know what he thinks about kneeling or not kneeling, that isn't the issue, right? I get why they're using the picture, because that's a man, okay? And so, I mean, to compete in that event, missing a leg, that is unreal, bless his heart. But to me, the most amazing part is the last thing that John said. He reaches out to the company to change its name to, ironically, I Kneel. I'm not kidding, it's spelled I-N-E-E-L, okay? That's the Facebook page now. It used to be Veteran Talk, and now it's also, they're using also the thing Veterans Pride. Now, no one knows if there's a single veteran involved in that organization. And when the actual veteran they use in that actual picture reached out to them, they blocked him. You want to talk about disrespectful to veterans? And there's another phrase for this. It's called stolen valor.
Yeah.
And so that guy lost his leg in Afghanistan. No matter what you think of that conflict or any of those conflicts, he signed up, he went, he fought for us. And you stole, in this case, it's literally stolen valor so you can make money off of it.
Yeah.
And these guys talk about respecting the flag and our military. And so, oh, we're conservatives, we're good. Oh yeah, you respect that flag. Don't kneel like these guys who want to do something about police brutality. Police brutality is awesome, okay? And then I'm for the troops. Okay, I'm the guy you're using a picture of. Piss off, veteran. We don't give a damn about you. We're making money here, okay? By tricking people.
Yeah, and look, I don't know about this particular page, Veterans Pride, or the other one, Political Insider. Who knows? But I know we reported within the last week that a lot of these Facebook pages, which were getting literally hundreds of millions of shares on their political memes designed to stoke racial division in our country, political division in our country, didn't just not have any veterans in them, they didn't have any Americans in them because they were being run by another country. I won't be more specific than that, do your research.
Yeah, so, but like they have no bounds. So the Political Insider, they have as a caption in this picture, thank him for his service, share. Well, you can thank him for yourself if you would just answer his call or his email or his Facebook comment saying, I'm the guy, can you please stop using my image? By the way, maybe you make a deal, maybe he agrees with you, I don't know. And then you actually give him 10%, I don't know.
Sure.
But for God's sake, answer the guy instead of stealing from him.
Yeah, look, veterans have been exploited in so many ways. If you haven't seen, and every American I think should see, the Pat Tillman story, it's a documentary called The Pat Tillman Story, you can see how the American government exploits our veterans to bring others into service. He was a great hero, and he had made millions in the NFL. He was in the prime of his career, but he was motivated to serve in Afghanistan because of the 9/11 attack and all of this stuff. He goes over there and he loses his life to friendly fire. And what does the government do? They create a story around his loss of life. Even though he lost to friendly fire, they said he was fighting terrorists and one of the terrorists took him down. And then they build this mythology around him to try to bring in more recruits.
Yeah.
And so that's our own government, who he's given his life for, exploiting his service for a message that they want to get out there. It's heinous, and this really is that, the exploitation of this guy. And then, yeah, you add all the BS on top of it, blocking him after he actually just tries to engage with them and go, hey, I think there's been a mistake here with my picture. I mean, it's just, it's nauseating.
Yeah, and Trump the other day tried to use Pat Tillman again, and his wife was like, no, don't do that. That's really gross.
Yeah.
And Tillman didn't even agree with the war. I mean, he left an NFL career. He went to go fight for his country because of 9/11. And he's like, look, I signed up for it. I think this is a mess. I don't think it's going in the right direction. But you know what I'm doing? I'm staying because that's my job and that's my service. He dies in that service. And then they use him as a political punchline. And so, look, it's not equal. You might disagree with progressives, but generally speaking, they don't do things like that. And I've never seen any liberal website, progressive website, or whatever, like, oh yeah, let's just rip off a veteran. That'll be fun. Who cares? Let's make money over them. My God, if they did that, the media would never stop talking about it. Conservatives do it without blinking an eye. And then they turn around and go, oh yeah, I'm for the veterans. As long as you're making a buck off them, it's absolutely disgusting. Help us build independent media together. TYTnetwork.com/join.